Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to another tapping break with yours truly, Megan Basita, your energy management mentor. So, today's anchor or affirmation or mantra is I am safe and well within or with my body. It can change. So, I am safe and well within my body, or I am safe and well with my body. So, the one that I've been using lately is I am safe and well with my body. And this can work on two different ways, I think. First off, I have been working with recently with my health and like my physical health and well-being. So I really made a commitment at the beginning of November to recommit to focusing on my body, helping myself feel better in my body. That meant for me, it felt really important to start to work out again more, movement, exercise, like really get that blood flow and get that heart rate up a little bit more. That felt really important to me at this time. I'm usually much more into yoga or restorative yoga, especially, and I've still been doing those things, but I've been really amping it up a little bit. I felt a lot of energy come up at the beginning of November, and I was like, I know the best way to help me harness this and direct this in a more purposeful way, and that's to get back into working out and to get back into eating better. Of course, with Halloween just finishing, that was always that's always a thing. But it just felt like the right time for me to recommit to that focus that I had set out at the beginning of the year to focus more on my body. And so I've been using in that capacity, but it originated a couple of months ago for me when I really wanted to have more communication and just observe my body a little bit more. I felt at that point I had felt a lot more disconnect with my body. I didn't know why it was doing what it was doing. Back in February, and at various times throughout the beginning, throughout the whole entire 2023, I have had like some physical symptoms kind of come up and through, just minor, just mild, like nothing crazy or anything. But it really got me into thinking like, what does this mean? Do I need to be concerned? What do I need to go? Who do I need to go see? Like, it was very scattered energy, and it was a little bit scarce and lack and out of my control, it felt. And so I had back then committed to my body as a way of really just kind of having a more connection, more communication with my body, observing it, witnessing it, sitting with the body, asking, what does my body need right now? What is it going through? And just seeing kind of what came through. But initially, it was a little bit unnerving because I had been, I do a lot of work with emotions and my mental capacity and, my mental energy, but the physical always kind of falls to the side. And over the last couple of years, there's just been tiny little nudges to say, get back into, communication with your body. But it's a little unnerving at first because you don't know what the fuck it's doing. It's like automatic and automated to so many things that when you actually sit to listen or sit to be with the body and witness and observe it, the mind is just going like, what is going on? Why is it doing that? What is happening here, and how do I fix it? Right? Like the mind really wants to be involved with anything and everything that the body has or is going through, and it can't. Right? Like I think that that's been one of my biggest struggles is to really put my mind to the side and let my body kind of lead the way in guiding me in what it wants to say or how it wants to communicate, or more of that in body intuitive or physical intuitive aspect. But anyway, so that's where this anchor originated for me, was that I am safe and well in my body, because initially I was just like, "Ooh, I'm not safe in this. Like, what the hell's going on?" Like, it was a little bit unnerving. And when you start to do things like, if you've ever done meditations where you're doing body scans and you're really feeling into certain parts of your body, and you start to get a little bit more familiar with that, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you start to feel different things, and the flutters and the tingles and the this and the that, and it's just like, ooh, right? So it can feel a little much, and especially to the mind, it's just like it like blows your mind's mind, and it can't be involved in a lot of it. So this anchor is for that. It's for you if you are reconnecting with your body for physical health and wellness or well-being, or with like your nervous system. We do a lot of work with our nervous system and somatics and energy stored in the body and releasing all of that. And sometimes it feels a lot. Like it can feel very hard sometimes because you're not in control of those automated parts. So let's get started. Let's get tapping. If you're in a good spot to do so, you can just take a nice gentle breath. Tune into the body here for a second. You know, if you have a minute, get comfortable as you can. Just take a couple gentle breaths and tune into the body. Like, where do you feel anything? Tension, tightness, expansion. Maybe you just feel disconnected, but you notice that disconnection. And just be present as you can, as present as your mind will let you right now. And just witness and observe what that physical sensation is. And then when you're ready, we're going to start tapping on the side of the hand and say, even though I feel disconnected from my body, I would like to feel more cohesion and more connection with my body. I love and accept myself deeply and completely now, with wherever I am at. When I think about connecting with my body, it can feel foreign and unnerving sometimes. It doesn't always feel safe. And that's okay. I love and accept myself deeply and completely today. Especially because I've felt disconnected and a bit neglectful of my body. It feels uncertain and unsure, trying to reconnect again. And that's okay. Because I love and accept myself deeply and completely anyway. Great job. So we'll move to the top of the head. Just tapping gently and say, it's not always easy to reconnect. Eyebrow point. It's not always easy to communicate. Side of the eye. And it sometimes feels foreign in my body. Underneath the eye. I feel like a stranger in my body. Underneath the nose. I'm uncertain and unsure. Underneath the mouth of what my body's doing. Collarbone point. I don't always trust my body. Underneath the arms. I don't always believe that it's on my side. Underneath the chest. And it feels a little scary. This point. I feel a little out of control. Top of the head. When it comes to reconnecting and communicating with my body. Eyebrow point. I don't know what the hell it's doing. Side of the eye. It's so automated. Underneath the eye. It seems to just have a mind of its own. Underneath the nose. It's having its own conversation. Underneath the mouth, and I just don't understand the language. collarbone point. My mind is trying to wrap its head around this. Underneath the arms, my mind is trying to make everything make sense. Underneath the chest. But a lot of the time, there's no luck with that. There's points, it feels like my mind has to be so involved. Top of the head, but it just doesn't know how to interpret what's going on. Eyebrow point, and this adds to the frustration. Side of the eye, this adds to the fear. Underneath the eye, this adds to that disconnection that I feel. Underneath the nose, that disconnection I feel in my body. Underneath the mouth, that misunderstanding. Collarbone point that comes up underneath the arms when I try to connect with my body. Underneath the chest, I forgive myself for believing that this is bad. Wrist points, I forgive myself for believing that my body is working against me. Top of the head, and I wonder if I could be more open to a conversation. Eyebrow point, where I'm not trying to analyze every little thing. Side of the eye that my body is sharing with me today. Okay. So if you take a sip of water, if you have, take a gentle breath, tune in a little bit again to how you feel in your body after that round. I resonate with the thought that, or the belief that my body is similar to like a child or an animal or a pet. Like, it is here to be of service to us. It is here, it's like unconditional, but our mind places a lot of conditions on our body, a lot of expectations, a lot of standards on our body. And it's, if we don't bring our body into consideration with those standards, expectations, and that the management of what we want from our body or what we need from our body, it feels like such a huge divide. It feels so foreign. It feels like a completely different realm. And so we really want to get to a place where, again, like I mentioned before, like our mind feels like it has to be very involved sometimes, and we can't rationalize a lot of the stuff that we feel in our body. Like, we don't know why our body does some of the things that it does. We don't know, like, if we don't pay attention to nearly enough of what the body is automatically doing for us, right? So there is that disconnect, and I don't think the body thinks that. I don't feel like there's this thing with our body that's like it needs it. It would love acknowledgement, right? For sure, but it doesn't need much. It doesn't need that overthinking, over rationalizing, over analyzing. It doesn't need to be, because it's just going to flow. It's just going to do what it's got to do, right? So if we can get our mind on board with that, it's a lot more helpful. It's a lot more of a peaceful conversation, I think. And we don't have to second guess what our body's doing, and we can kind of see the thing behind the thing about what our body is bringing to the surface for us, right? So it's an interesting thing. I feel like, especially with working with the nervous system and really going in on a deeper level, that if we are coming into a conversation with our body, like we're sitting down to meditate, we're sitting down to do our personal practice, tapping, whatever it might be, exercise, stretching, yoga, whatever it might be, and we have these grand expectations placed on our body, it just kind of it I mean, you just think about it when you come into a conversation with somebody who's got an agenda, who's got a plan, who's got something that their own personal agenda for the conversation or for where you want this conversation to go. And they don't take into consideration how you feel about it or what you want to input on it or your take on things or your consideration whatsoever. And how do you feel when that happens? Like, how do you feel when you are basically a pawn in somebody else's agenda or somebody else's plans, right? So it's not very receptive. It's not a very there's not a nice give and receive fluidity or flow or harmony between that. So I think that it's really important when we are being mindful and intentional about when we want to come into contact with our body and when we want to come into communication and connection with our body, that we are really being mindful about our mind and what we're bringing to the table and any agendas or any expectations that we want to place on our body, and that we kind of try as much as we can to take a bigger picture approach and like a more observational approach and see what the body wants to offer, see what the body can offer, see what the body wants to give, and how the body wants to play its own part in what it is that we're doing. Because again, our body, so much of our body is just so automated, just so automatic. It knows exactly what to do and when to do it. And I think that was another thing that I wanted to chat about, is that before we had some awareness of that aspect of our body that is automated, that automatically does so much for us, we feel like our body is not working with us in that way. So if you have ever experienced any kind of basically any trauma, like nothing, it can be a big trauma or a small trauma, it doesn't matter. But if you've experienced anything where your body is taken over and it's done the fight, flight, or freeze, that response to something, then you will know that your body takes over, and you basically, especially when it comes to that freeze state, you don't have any control over that, and that can cause a big rift in our relationship with our body, because we think that our body failed us. We think we did something wrong. We should have done this. We knew to do that, but we didn't. We just froze. And I've heard a lot lately about like how, yes, we are animals ourselves. Like there's not a lot. I mean, there is a lot separating us from like nature and animals, but we all kind of respond to certain energies, and we experience certain reactions, the fight, flight, freeze, in very similar ways. The difference is between humans and animals, we overthink the shit out of everything, and then we hold a grudge about it, right? We make it mean something. We have this story connected to why our body treated us this way, when really it was doing the most natural and like it was doing exactly what it needed to do in that moment, but we think that it failed us. And so that causes, like I said, a big rift. And I think that needs to be addressed and healed a little bit before we can actually trust our body and feel safe in our body. So can we be open and wonder, like, obviously this is more for one-on-one work. If you've experienced, things that have really impacted you and your relationship with your body, where you think, oh, my body is failing me, it doesn't listen to me, it's working against me, it doesn't listen, like it's not doing its job. When in fact, can we be open and from a body perspective, and that natural, automatic, very exactly what it's supposed to do, it's taking care of you, can we see that it actually is? But we have conditioned ourselves to believe that it is not on our side, it is not doing what it needs us to do. So, and that takes, a little bit of a little bit more of awareness and intention and forgiveness and compassion and grace for when we think about that, because our mind, obviously makes that mean something and we take it personally. So how do we do that, right? So obviously we're going to gently tap into that a little bit for this next round, but this is really where we can do a lot of amazing stuff with one-on-one work, with tapping and just really getting back into more safety and wellness with our body. So we're going to just start by tapping on the side of the hand here and taking a nice gentle breath. And saying, even though my body has failed me before, my body hasn't listened to me, It hasn't done what I wanted it to do. I feel this rift in our relationship. But I still love and accept myself today. When I think about past situations, when I've expected my body to do something, and it's completely let me down, I'd like to release this resentment towards my body, because I love and accept all parts of me anyway. Especially when I think of all the times my body's let me down. It's gone offline, taken over, it's shut down. All the times it's seemed like it's working against me. I'd like to forgive my body for this now. And I love and accept myself where I am today. Okay, let's go to the top of the head now and say all the times I feel like my body has let me down. Eyebrow point, all the times that I have had expectations that were let down. Side of the eye, all the times I wanted my body to do something underneath the eye, and it's let me down. Underneath the eye, or sorry, underneath the nose. All the times that I have felt unsafe with my body. Underneath the mouth, all of the loss to trust. Collarbone point. I feel like I've lost a lot of trust. Underneath the arm. And lost a lot of confidence in my body. Underneath the chest. My mind saw something. Wrist points, and wanted to react in a certain way. Top of the head. But my body had other plans. Eyebrow point. All the times that my body has overridden my mind. Side of the eye. For all the times that I couldn't see what my body saw. Underneath your eye. For all this resentment and bitterness. Underneath the nose. For all the shame and anger. Underneath the mouth. For all of the times that I felt distrust and unsafe in my body. Collarbone point. I forgive my body. Underneath the arms. I forgive my body for not listening. Underneath the chest. I'm sorry that I didn't trust my body. Wrist point. I'm sorry that I didn't see what it saw. Top of the head. I'm sorry that I doubted all the times that it saved my ass. Eyebrow point, whether I knew what it was doing or not. Side of the eye. I wonder if my body can forgive my mind today. Underneath the eye. I wonder if I can forgive my body. Underneath the nose. I wonder if my body can forgive me. Underneath the mouth. I give myself permission to let all this go. Collarbone point. And to get curious. Underneath the arms. About what it would mean to trust my body again. Underneath the chest. I wonder what I need. Or wrist points in order to believe. Top of the head. That I am safe and well with my body today. Awesome job. Okay, so let's take a nice gentle breath and let's just actually, before we even start talking, tune into our body. So if you are in a place where you can, take a nice gentle breath, close your eyes if you can, and just breathe and observe your body. So we did this at the beginning. Notice how different it might feel now for you. Maybe there's more space and more openness. You're more receptive to being observant of your body and just witnessing it. Without trying to manage or manipulate it or try to interpret it. Just taking a nice gentle breath in and out. And also just noticing if you feel any more or any different or the same tension, tightness, constriction, restriction within your body. And releasing that judgment. Or maybe that expectation that you had that this was going to shift it or change it. Maybe even if you can, at the very least, just neutrally look at this place in your body without any judgment or expectation. But if it's available to you, you can bring some love to it, bring some acceptance and some grace to it. And honor that dishonorable part of you or that disgraceful part of you. Just bring some love to it, unconditional acceptance, love, peace, ease. Bringing in some appreciation and gratitude for all the times that your body has just provided for you without asking for anything in return. And just seeing if you're open to giving something without asking for anything in return to your body. Taking a nice gentle breath here, in and out. And even if nothing comes to you right now, even if you feel like this isn't a time where you can drop in and really be present and patient and intentional with your body, this is the opening that you have. If you come to this video, if you are drawn to this session, this is the invitation, this is the opening for you to start that conversation. This conversation doesn't end after this video ends. This session doesn't end, or this conversation doesn't end when this session ends. And so if you haven't done so already, you can open your eyes, or you can pause this video and you can sit with yourself. If you're really feeling like you can drop in a little bit more, give yourself that moment. Give yourself permission to hold space that is available to you right now, and drop in even more. And if not, again, the introduction has been made, right? The opening has been opened. Like, so I think of it as like an opening of a door or an opening of a window. It's the start of a conversation that is going to be ongoing until we die, right? Until we leave our body, this conversation is always going to be going on. So if we can find small pockets of time where we can give back to our body without any strings, without any agenda, without any conditions, without anything, any expectations or standards, just like our body gives to us, without any expectations, agenda. It's here to keep us alive, and it's doing that, right? It's doing that. And the more cohesion and harmony we can find, and that it's called, there's something in tapping that's always called like bridging the gap. So you're bringing these two things together. And some days you might feel like miles apart with your body, and other days you might feel very interwoven and very interconnected, and that have that stronger sense of closeness that you might have with your body. So work with yourself where you're at. Like, you don't need to. Sorry, I can hear my dog doing something outside. I'm gonna have to let him in a minute. But you don't need to like make these demands of like every single day you have to have a certain practice that has to go to a certain level that brings you closer to your body. Each and every time we feel that alignment, that that motivation to work with our body, that's the time that we need to build and strengthen on it, not when we're feeling like we're butting heads with our body, if that makes sense. So this is a lot of energy management. We work with the mood that we have, and we leverage that energy to make the most out of the time or the space that we have with whatever we're working with. So I hope that was helpful. I'd love to hear how this resonated with you in the comments. Do you feel closer to your body? Do you feel more apart than ever before, or somewhere in between? And yeah, just feel free to share anything, and reach out if you'd like to learn more about how one-on-one sessions with tapping can bridge that gap between you and your body, and help you find more harmony with your body, and help you feel more safe and well with your body. So have an amazing rest of your day. We will talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.